No, just this one. So anyways, a lot happens this time of year. So my name is Cindy Rustler, and I work with the Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District, and I'm here to talk to you about places where you can go see wildflowers. The Native Plant Society asked me to do that. Hey, Jeff. And I've had quite an adventure talking to people about where do they go see wildflowers. And of course, there were more places than I could possibly talk about in an hour. So your favorite spot may not be up here this year, but these are areas that I thought was a nice mix in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And just as a reminder, what is the Santa Cruz Mountains? It's the mountain range that goes down the San Francisco Peninsula from San Francisco to Santa Cruz. So that's generally the area that I'm concentrating on. There's a couple places I added on the end that are outside of the Santa Cruz Mountains, but that's basically what I'm talking about. And they are our home. Even the flatland area is associated with the Santa Cruz Mountains. So even San Jose, Santa Clara here is considered part of the Santa Cruz Mountains. And they're also the home of many different types of flowers because we're in this very unique part of the world. So that's why we have so much to see here. Don't feel like you have to write all this down, all 20 locations, because at the end, I will give you some locations on the internet where you can get this list of the 20 locations, and also with links to where you can find out more about each location, you know, how to get there and parking and hikes and stuff like that. So just enjoy the photographs. I got a lot of nice photographs from people. Let's see, point it at the computer. There. Okay, so the first one, as I'm going to start with, is Coyote Ridge. Now generally the wildflowers start blooming further south because it's warmer and drier there, and then as you move up in the peninsula, the wildflower bloom moves up. So we're going to start on the south end of the Santa Cruz Mountains in the Coyote Ridge area. If you take Highway 101 south from San Jose to Morgan Hill, and you look to the east, and you see these colorful patches above you, that is Coyote Ridge. Coyote Ridge has serpentine rock, which is this unique geology that California has. And it is very poor in plant nutrients, but high in some minerals as a result of the geology there. Well, that just happens to be a good place for wildflowers, as you can see in these photos here. There are some California plants that have adapted to these soil conditions, and they have very good wildflower blooms. So Coyote Ridge is a place where you can go see that. And again, today I'm going to give you not only some locations to go, but give you some information about where and how to find wildflowers. So one clue about finding wildflowers in our area is poor soils. Actually, poor soils make good native wildflowers. And in this case, Coyote Ridge has a serpentine. And there's over a dozen rare species of plants up here. This property is managed by the Santa Clara County Open Space Authority. It's not open to the public on a daily basis. You need to get reservations. They lead guided hikes to this sensitive area in April and May. So you can go to their website and get signed up for one of their hikes. And it's a very popular thing to do in April and May. And then you get to walk around on these hills and see all the beautiful flowers. You also get a chance to learn how they manage this sensitive area, because not only does it have rare plants, but it is also one of the few remaining locations of the rare bay checker spot butterfly, the endangered checker spot butterfly. The butterfly's native wildlife use native plants, as Georgia frequently says. And this is a case where it's certainly happening up there. So that's why there's guided hikes, but it is very beautiful to go look at it. But while you're walking around on that ridge looking at the flowers, take the time to look to the east. You can see in the background there are the valleys to the east of the ridge. There are some ranches there. Even one of the ranches is starting to establish a tule elk herd. So if you've got your binoculars on, you might actually see the tule elk from the distance. So that's a fun thing to do while you're up there. And then the next location down in the south area is another coyote area, Coyote Lake, also known as Harvey Bear Ranch County Park. And I've actually never been there before. One of the advantages of doing this presentation is I talked to so many people about where they like to go to see wildflowers, and I had 3 people independently, spontaneous blurt out, including Steve, Coyote Lake. Coyote Lake, I'd love to go see wildflowers at Coyote Lake. And then I saw the beautiful photos there. Now I want to go. So, where is it? It's east of Gilroy, and it's about 5,000 acres. It's a Santa Clara County park. Most people know it because of the lake, and they go there for boating and maybe for camping. But there's also some great hiking there, especially in the springs. For poor soils, again, there's a serpentine patch there where you can go and see some of these wildflowers. There are fees to go there, and I'm not going to go into the details of all the different agencies, but I did want to point out these parks that I'm giving you guys recommendations today. Some of them are state parks, some of them are San Mateo or Santa Clara County parks, some of them are the open space preserves. When you go to the links, you can find out more about that individual park and where the parking is and get directions. And sometimes there are parking fees and sometimes there are not. So this one does have fees, so go ahead and check that out before you go down there. They have a visitor center with wildlife on display there. And so let's talk about the flowers. Steve here actually was one of the persons who recommended this, and whenever I could, if I talked to somebody recently about what they're seeing very currently down there, I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. So Steve says he recommends the Calaveras Trail, which if you go to the boat launch area, you just walk across from that, across the road, and then you take the Ohlone Trail a short distance up, and then you go north on the Calaveras Trail as far as you want, until you want to turn around. And he says it's very well marked with signs, and that's a good place to see carpets of these wildflowers. And then also Coyote Ridge Trail has a reputation of being very good. And I forgot on this previous slide to point out what our featured flowers are here. So here on Coyote Ridge, the flower on the top is crane cups, and the flower on the bottom is the most beautiful jewel flower. That's its real name, the most beautiful jewel flower. And it actually is very beautiful. And it's a serpentine indicator. It mostly only grows on serpentine rock. Occasionally you can see it some other places. So those are the two featured flowers at Coyote Ridge. And then here at Coyote Lake, there's fields of the gold fields, and there's also fields of poppies and many other different types of flowers there. Rancho Cañada del Oro, and a new section of it called Blair Ranch, is also in the south area. It's between San Jose and Morgan Hill, above Calero Reservoir. If you've been down in that area, it's managed by, again, the Santa Clara County Open Space Authority, and they've been regularly opening new trails down there in the last few years. As they acquire new property, they're opening trails throughout the property they own, and also connecting to some of the county parks down there. So you can get some really nice hikes. Some of the most popular hikes for wildflowers down there are Mayfair and Longwall, and they connect to the Serpentine Trail in in the Calero Reservoir area. So you can get into that area too. There is a new section that they bought called Blair Ranch. That section is not open to the public yet, but you can go on guided hikes there. So check their website to find out when they have guided hikes. And some of these photos are actually from the Blair Ranch area. A lot of the former ranch lands that are now being turned into parks have some beautiful features, such as some of the stock ponds or lakes there, but they also have natural features around them like the wildflowers. I talked to docent Kate Hutnick this week, and this is what she reports for that area of Rancho Cañada del Oro. She says Longwall Canyon has a very nice range of wildflowers blooming along its route, beautiful little bouquets of Davy's skullcap, broad expanses of royal larkspur, jeweled onion, green hair streaks, and silvery blue butterflies dance along the route. Now, is that a good recommendation? I also have I've snuck another park in here that I didn't get into the slideshow, but after talking to Kate, she says that she's going to be leading a hike to the nearby Rancho San Vincent area on May 15th. So if you go to the Santa Clara County Parks website, you can find her May 15th hike to Rancho San Vincent. And what she says about that hike is that while the first flush of seasonal wildflowers will be over, the preserve still has lots of colors. Outcrops of the Santa Clara Valley Dudleya will be in bloom. So if that's something you're interested in going on, check out the county website on that. And our featured flower here in the bottom corner is baby blue eyes. ALMADEN Quicksilver Park. Then this is actually one of my personal favorites from when I used to live down in that area. And it's in San Jose near the former mining town of New Almaden. And it's a great place to go hiking where you can learn about the history of the mining operation that was there and also watch nature recover that former mining operation and all the roads and the small town, Spanish town that used to be there. You can start to see, or you can see where over many, many decades it's been going ahead and turning back into natural conditions. And it's got poor soil, so guess what? Underneath a lot of those oaks and in some of the grasslands, you can get some nice wildflowers in there. The other interesting thing about it is it has several entrances, and many of those entrances are right out of residential neighborhoods. So the people that live down in that area can often go hiking in the evening up into the park, or you can go down on a weekend also. A lot of open area with oaks, valley oaks, beautiful stands of blue oaks in there. My favorite entrance is the Mockingbird Hill Lane entrance, and it's not just because of the name. There's beautiful clusters of Chinese houses as wildflowers as you go in there. I remember once being up there around Easter many years ago, and the turkeys were doing their strutting stuff that they do this time of year, and we had to walk around them on the trail because we didn't want to mess with them. But as we came around the corner, who did I see but Ala Zappacosta, one of our local plant botanists, and I was just very happy to see her. I hadn't seen her in a while, and she taught me something about the fiesta flower. So the two flowers that we have here, the two featured ones, is the bird's eye gilia is on top. And what's interesting about that is the pollen, the stamens in there, instead of being the usual yellow, are blue. It's a very gorgeous blue. So remember now and then to lean down and look at the plants in detail. But the other flower, this is the white fiesta flower on the bottom. If you looked at that plant carefully and not just the flowers, this is what Olive taught me about how that plant got its name. The leaves have these kind of Velcro-like hairs on the back. And she told me that when the Mexican ladies were going to go to the summer fiesta, they would take the leaves and they would put them on their skirts in these fancy patterns, and that would be their new dress to go to the fiesta. So, interesting things about these plants. And you'll notice there's also an ant on this flower. We think flowers are beautiful for us. Not true. What are flowers for? They're for reproduction. They're for seeds. They're for the plant to have more plants. And the reason they're beautiful is often to attract insects to help them pollinate. So even though we love wildflowers and the way they look, if you think about it, they look that way a lot of times to attract the insects. So if they look that way to attract insects, but we like them, what does that say about our brain? We must think and look and sense like insects, maybe. So, in addition to Mockingbird Hill Lane, other places that Kate said are good for hiking in ALMADEN Quicksilver Park are Senador Trail to Guadalupe Trail, to Mine Hill Trail, and then also Castellero Trail. So there's a lot of places to go hiking in that area, if you're an ant or a person. Santa Teresa County.